Hey, sorry I was late. I just got back from thinking about working out. Okay, I wasn't. Anyway, thanks for stopping by. This is going to be a fun recap and key takeaways from 2020. I just heard or saw a sweet post the other day that said, "Isn't it ironic that 2020 is such a blur?" Get it? 2020 vision. All right. So some key themes that have come out throughout the year as I look back and I reflect on this past year and just several conversations with others and in my own reflection, right? Because there were definitely several highs, there were several lows, there were a lot of in-betweens and a lot of I don't knows. So 4 key themes really came out to me, and I thought I'd share them with you because I found them to be incredibly powerful to me. And then in the conversations when I've shared those things, I rarely ever recommend or suggest anything unless asked. It's kind of like this whole thing that I have with, stop giving unsolicited advice, whether it's with friends or relationships or anything like that, because the best way to help somebody is just to listen. And so even trying that would go a long way. That being said, several of you have reached out and asked for what are my key, what's like my framework or what do I enjoy seeing breakthroughs happen with others the most from. And it really comes down to these 4 key things. So I thought I'd share them with you. And as we're going along, kind of make mental note or jot it down yourself and think about these key areas and how are they serving you, right? So I really want you to take this and be incredibly selfish. I want you to take this time, and by the way, a little precursor, the only time you are called selfish is when you're not doing something somebody else wants you to do. So keep that in mind. And if you think that you're not worthy of the time for yourself or you're not worthy of investing in yourself, think about it in a life or death situation on an airplane. They tell you in the event of an emergency to grab the oxygen mask and put it on yourself first and then serve the people who are dependent upon you. It's not because you love them so much you're going to put it all on them, because then you're going to pass out, right? It's put the oxygen mask on yourself first. So I would love you to think about being selfish for a little bit. I would love to think for you to think about putting that oxygen mask on yourself first, maybe for the first time in your life, thinking about the importance of you getting centered and you getting aligned. And there's a lot that goes into vibration and alignment and awareness, and it's not a right or wrong thing, right? So it's not my wife always teaches me about polarities, right? And be aware of polarities when I'm saying right, wrong, good, evil, because that's all in your own perspective. But as I go through these things, would love for you to reflect and just how does it resonate with you, or whether it's over this past year, whether you're looking into the new year and whether you're looking to see how are these things going to help me grow versus control me. Right. So if you think you don't have anything in your life that controls you, simply go to a restaurant or somewhere else you're at, or maybe where you're at right now. Put your phone down and walk away. And see how quickly you're looking to see what's going on. Because one of the first things that I came across this past year that really heightened in my awareness is gratitude, right? Gratitude. Having an attitude of gratitude. And thinking about what that would look like for me if I tried to position every situation beginning from a state of gratitude. That's the good stuff and the bad stuff. That's the challenging stuff and the I know stuff. There's the I shoulds, I could, I would, I didn't, all those things. But coming from a place of gratitude and reframing that from a place of gratitude. It's so easy to get lost in the confusion and what has your attention. Because whatever has your attention, they say, wherever your attention goes, energy flows. So there's no reason to be confused about why you feel drained if you're hanging around people that drain your energy, who bring you down, who only want to talk about what they have going on and never actually ask you about what you have going on. Is there any way they can help? You'll notice this in conversations when you might be going through something, you share something that you're going through, and they automatically want to redirect the attention to something they have going through or something they have gone through, which is even worse, right? Going back to a state of gratitude means starting from a place of being grateful for the conversation that you're having in that situation. Just starting from there. Saying, what am I grateful for? There's a lot of things that you might lose. There are a lot of things that you might misplace. There are a lot of relationships that might dissolve. There are a lot of relationships that might form. But being open from a place of gratitude would go a long way. Let's think about that. Second thing, mindset. Now, this isn't about everything is rainbows and unicorns all the time. This is simply, where's my mindset in each moment to moment? Abraham Hicks talks about segment intending. So every time you switch, when I'm done with this message, right, it's going to be a new segment. I'm going to be going about and doing other things. So I need to get my mindset in a position that puts me in the best position to succeed in whatever success looks like in that situation. But identifying where your mindset is when maybe you're working on a project that you have going on, maybe you're with your kids, maybe with your friends, maybe with your partner, whatever that is, but just identifying where is your mindset at that time and bringing attention back in and bringing gratitude back into it. Are attention and gratitude part of that mindset that keeps you focused on what really matters, which is right now, right? Past, present, future. We talked about that before. Only one of them is another name for a gift. Which is it? The present, right? So let's try to stay there. Beliefs. This was a big one. I had so many beliefs going into this year. I can think back to January, February, March, and what I believed this year was going to be about, and what I believed I was going to be focusing on and working on and pursuing and in some cases chasing. And then this whole pandemic comes about, and it changes the game for a lot of reasons. But my beliefs come into question, and the invigorating thing about having children, there's so many things, but one of the biggest things is how they ask why a lot. Like, why? Like, why do I gotta do that? Why do I gotta do this? Why is the sky blue? Why? And I used to fall into the pattern of saying because I said so, or I would only answer a couple times and then I'd say, hey, just listen and follow directions. And this past year, I've come into being able to be more present in those conversations where I actually follow that why long enough to see, is this really a belief that comes from me? Is this something I really believe, or is this something that belief came from somebody else who told me so many times, or I heard it so many times, so then it just became a belief that I had. And those beliefs are a big deal. So thinking about part of this activity, thinking about jotting down the beliefs that you have, and are they serving you? Do they lift you up? Do they encourage you to grow? Do they bring about goodness in your life? Do they lift you up when you're down? Do they keep you inspired? Do they promote love? Like, well, what is it for you? What are those beliefs? Because those beliefs are driving so much, consciously, subconsciously, unconsciously, all the different kind of stuff. Just encourage you to check those out. Again, not a right or wrong, not a good or bad, not, oh, this is better than, it's not like that. It's looking at what you're reflecting on this past year, what you want to take into the new year, and what fits. What fits? Like, I saw a thing the other day that said, is the life you're creating or the things you're surrounding yourself, is that serving you to grow towards who you are now and who you want to become, or is it serving who you used to be? And if it's serving who you used to be, well, we got some things to look at, right? We got to reframe those beliefs and say, is this something that really serves me? So we got what? Gratitude, mindset, beliefs, and the last thing is ownership. And I would just encourage you to take a look at, what are you taking ownership of? And then who are you blaming for the other things? I used to do this quite often where anything good that was happening, I would take credit for. And anything that was technically bad, we're getting into the polarities again, bad or not what I wanted, it'd be somebody else's fault. It'd just be somebody else's fault. I could make a list. It's kind of like I'd make a list for all the people to blame, like there was a reward for it. I don't know if you've ever done that. But taking ownership of something really starts with you, and it starts with you understanding what, people ask me, how does this look like? It starts with you kind of thinking about, what would this look like if I was the one completely responsible for this? So in a couple messages ago, we brought up the whole thing of, if you look at every problem you have or every problem you've had, they all have one thing in common, and that's you were there. Right? So where can you take ownership in those situations? And this is a really challenging thing, and yet extremely powerful when you just give yourself the space to understand it's okay. It's where you were in that moment. It's where you were at that time in your life, and that's okay. And just take that deep breath, let that out, and surround yourself with people who will breathe that in and let you exhale. Right? If we're all walking around waiting for a time to exhale, surrounding yourselves with people who will let you do that is beyond powerful. And I really think it centers around those things. I really think it centers around the gratitude, right? The mindset, your beliefs, taking ownership. Those 4 key areas are big to me. What are your 4 key areas? Please share them with me. Drop them in the comments below. Drop me a little message, direct message. Hop on the podcast with me. Reach out if you want to be on the podcast with me. Reach out if you want to do a scene. The thing is that we have all these possibilities to communicate and connect. And while it may not be ideal in being able to just, reach out and touch someone, we can still connect and we can reframe how we're approaching the way we're doing things. And is the life that you've been chasing and wanting to get back to so bad the same one that you were complaining about before? Or is it one that you realize through it all, there's some huge growth that's happened and there's some opportunities for me to change the way I do things, where I'm serving my attention to who I'm serving? And is there a little spot in the day, just a little tiny one, where I could be serving myself too? I encourage you to check those things out. I'm wishing you the very best in this new year. Look back on this past year and think about areas where you can be grateful for. Think about areas where maybe new beliefs came about that challenged your old beliefs and now they're serving you more. Look back on this past year and think about how your mindset changed or how it shifted to different things and where your attention's now going. And just taking a pulse check real quick and saying, okay, is that serving me? And can I take ownership over that? I think it'll serve you. I think it'll bring you value. And I really look forward to seeing what this new year brings. So peace and love. Be kind. Show some empathy to others. You matter. I appreciate you. Go get them.